White House. What an exciting move you have made. Is everybody having a good time? There's nothing like the White House, right? No matter where you go. First Lady worked very hard in making it perfect, and I think you're going to really love it. And I heard you were here, and I said, let's stop by and say hello. Maybe someday you'll be here as the president, right? You're going to give them a special tour, okay? Have fun, everybody. USA! 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 USA!
That's President Trump showing how it's done, making a surprise appearance to a group gathered for a White House tour and celebrating with all of them the dawn of the new golden age, where every single day we score whole new and exciting wins. Speaking of wins, take a look at this. In one of the deepest blue states in the nation, the state of Connecticut, my old home state, look at this. In a special election for state senate, the Republican absolutely crushed his Democrat opponent. Republican State Representative Jason Perillo won the state Senate seat by 7 points in a district that voted for Trump by just 0.5. Our good friend Red Eagles Politics tweeted out how extraordinary this election was and that the Republicans significantly overperformed in a special election just weeks after the presidential election. Hell has officially frozen over, as he put it. It's one of the first, if not the first, special elections since November 5th, and it shows the extraordinary popularity of President Trump and how that popularity now appears to be translating over to a new rebranded Republican Party, the grand old Patriot Party that's truly connecting with the people. Again, one of the biggest developments of this week has been the release of that Harvard-Harris poll that shows Trump enjoying supermajority support for virtually every single one of his policies. We're talking every single one. 81% of voters support deporting illegal migrants who committed crimes. 76% support the undertaking of full-scale efforts to find and eliminate fraud and waste and abuse in the federal government. 76% support closing the border. 69% support banning trans athletes from competing in women's sports. 68% support declaring there are only two genders. 65% support merit-based hiring and the elimination of all DEI initiatives. 63% support freezing all foreign aid. 61% support reciprocal tariffs. 59% support cutting government expenditures. 57% support ending bans on offshore drilling. We could go on and on. Trump's America First agenda is officially the new supermajority consensus in the nation. And that consensus showed itself in this special state Senate election in Connecticut, where the Republican outperformed Trump by a significant 7 points. Now, in terms of Connecticut proper, this special election raises the specter of whether Connecticut can eventually flip red. Now, the pattern that we've been seeing is basically this. Pennsylvania is the new Ohio, right? Pennsylvania is exemplifying the same partisan pattern that Ohio exemplified a few years back. It's literally just thousands of registrations away from flipping officially red. Remember, when Trump first won Pennsylvania, Democrats had a 600,000 voter registration advantage over Republicans. That voter registration advantage has shrunk to just several thousand at this point. So Pennsylvania is quickly on its way to becoming the new Ohio. Ohio exemplified the same characteristics of the Democrat lead that they used to have in voter registration, shrinking until finally, critical mass and tipping point, and Republicans took over. So Pennsylvania is the new Ohio, but a number of analysts are recognizing that New Jersey is the new Pennsylvania. Trump came within just a few points, 5 points of winning New Jersey. And again, this is because of the mass defection of the working class voter, both white and non-white working class voter, over to Trump and the new MAGA-based GOP. And you'll recall the Republican Jack Ciattarelli came literally within a few thousand votes of defeating their incumbent Democrat Governor Phil Murphy back in 2021. In fact, there were clearly some shenanigans going on in there just to guarantee Murphy would pull it out. So Jersey looks like it's the new Pennsylvania. It's where Pennsylvania was about 4 years ago or so. And if Jersey is the new Pennsylvania, analysts are noting that Connecticut is the next New Jersey. Connecticut, again, has a very populous working class who are increasingly defecting to Trump. So the special election, particularly its astonishing overperformance, where the Republican did 7 points better than Trump's performance in November, underscores the political realignment that's very possible in the elections of the very near future. But if you thought that one was fun, wait until you see what the White House just did to absolutely stun the legacy media. This is going to make your day. But first, time is running out to register for the America's Golden Age Summit. It's this Thursday, February 27th, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. You do not want to miss it. It's online, so you can enjoy it from the comfort of your own couch. I've got an incredible lineup of guests ready to show you exactly how to prosper in America's new golden age, from building wealth and getting healthy to thriving in the rising patriot economy. And here's the deal. Register right now for $10 with promo code GOLDENAGE25. That's GOLDENAGE25. And you're going to get a free extra ticket to give away to family and friends. Plus, loads of free bonuses, including 3 months of Courageous Conservative Club membership. So time's running out. Don't wait. Secure your spot now at the link below. In another major win, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt announced that the White House has officially taken control over the makeup of the White House press pool, brushing aside the radically left-wing White House Correspondents Association, which for the last century was responsible for deciding which outlets were allowed access to the president.
As you all know, for decades, a group of DC-based journalists, the White House Correspondents Association, has long dictated which journalists get to ask questions of the President of the United States in these most intimate spaces. Not anymore. I am proud to announce that we are going to give the power back to the people who read your papers, who watch your television shows, and who listen to your radio stations.
The Trump administration has announced that it now will take control of determining which news outlets have access to the president as part of the press pool, a responsibility that has, again, traditionally been managed by the WHCA, the White House Correspondents Association. Now, if you didn't know, the WHCA has recently become nothing more than a left-wing activist association, like the whole of the federal government. If you didn't know, it's a 9-member board that determines who's allowed in, who's allowed access to the White House. And that 9-member board consists of, I kid you not, MSNBC, yes, the ultra-left, the former Joy Reid network, MSNBC, is on that board. CBS, Politico, that we now know got millions of dollars from the USAID, Bloomberg, Getty, Fox, Reuters, and the BBC, which also got USAID funds, and ABC News. The approval process for access to the White House that was up until now dictated by these 9 news outlets was closed door and entirely secretive. Those days are now officially over. It is the White House, not the WHCA, that will now determine the makeup of the press pool on a day-to-day basis. And that will now include independent journalists and content creators who have thus far been excluded by the woke left media cabal. So here we're seeing the paradigm shift that we've been talking about on this channel for years now happening in real time. It's finally being acknowledged. And that's the rise of what scholars call the network society, right? If you're a regular to this channel, and if not, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. But if you're a regular to this channel, you know that term very well. The network society involves the kind of social order that emerges when internet-based technologies function as the organizational center of society. And the key to this new social order is that the old gatekeepers of information, namely the legacy media, but also the university and think tanks and the like, they no longer have a dominant foothold on what counts as knowledge and information anymore. Because Because of the rise of the internet, we're now able to share and access digital information with each other in a way that bypasses these older gatekeepers in a manner comparable to the way email and texting bypass the post office. And so as a result, information has been radically democratized. It's been decentralized away from monopolistic institutions like the legacy media. And it's now available to everyone through internet-based technologies. We all have the same access to the same information that CNN has. And so the legacy media is now learning the cold, hard truth that they're not the only players on the field anymore. A whole new generation of network society journalists and content creators has emerged that are now being acknowledged by the White House as legitimate counterparts to the old and frankly dying legacy media. And they're dying largely because we can now fact check them, because we have access to the exact same information that CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times and the Washington Post have. We can fact check the self-anointed fact checkers. And as you know, they are often found wanting. And speaking of, you know how the legacy media loves to push this BS narrative that Trump is an authoritarian fascist dictator, not accountable to anyone. The National Journal just released stats for the amount of questions that Trump has taken in his first month of office from the press. Now, by comparison, Obama took 161 questions in his first month in office from the media. Trump 1.0 took 199. Biden, 141 questions. And of course, those were all scripted and choreographed. Trump 2.0, 1,009 questions.
1,000+ questions answered by President Trump in the first month.
I mean,
that is, President Biden, his first month had 141 questions answered. I mean, 1,000+. No wonder it feels like 7 years.
I know. I mean, just hearing that statistic, I'm living it, Brett, so I believe it. There's no part of me that has any doubt in that data because, I mean, if you just think about today, the president, there was a press briefing, and then the president brought the pool, including the Wall Street Journal, into the Oval Office for 45 minutes. So he's taken a lot of questions.
No wonder why it feels like 7 years. I love it. Seriously. Stop. Name me a single historical authoritarian dictator that has been anywhere near as transparent with the media as that, particularly a hostile media. In fact, it's precisely the opposite. Trump has 10x'd the White House's accessibility and accountability to the public as compared with his predecessors. Even Bret Baier, who's as much of an ally to the establishment as anyone can get, even he had to admit that this is completely and totally unprecedented. And it shows again why none of this is landing with the public as we see with Connecticut. When all is said and done, what we're seeing here, whether it's the special election, whether it's the White House Correspondents Association being completely blown off, whether it's Trump's accessibility, what we are seeing here is a new era in American politics. Trump has proven himself to be the president of the people, of the new consensus. For the last 4 years, the vast majority of the electorate have been completely ignored. The values, interests, concerns of the supermajority of voters, border security, concerns about economic security, cultural security, they were routinely dismissed by our liberal establishment as racist, xenophobic, or they were overruled by our elite as ignorant and economically illiterate. We were lied to. We knew this. We were lied to repeatedly, over and over, by the bought and paid for legacy media, by both politician and press, that our southern border was completely secure, that our economy was the best it's ever been in human history, and that if you thought men should not be allowed to compete with women in female sports, you were a bad person. And the American people on November 5th frankly said, enough. enough. Enough of the lies. Enough of the charade. Enough of the dismissals. Enough of the deceptions. We are taking our country back, and we're not asking your permission. And Donald Trump, more than anyone else, is the one we entrust who's going to do just that on our behalf. And he's not going to ask your permission. And he has. He's done just that. That's exactly what the latest CBS poll shows. 70% of the public believes Trump is doing exactly what he campaigned on. 70% of the country believes promises made, promises kept. And that is only further increasing his poll numbers. We are in the midst of an astonishing political realignment. A new politics, a politics of the people. And we still have 3 years and 11 months to go. By the way, click on the link in the description below to get all these articles and tweets I reference throughout my videos emailed to you each and every day. You're going to love it. We want you to have the best resources out there to convince your family and your friends of this new MAGA super age that's rising here.